Hello, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Scenes podcast, The Alchemist's Process. Today I have my very entertaining husband,
Simba.
Simba.
Nice to be
And
here.
today we are going to talk about alchemy, of course, but in from the aspect of alchemy is the source creator, or through the alchemy you can become the source creator, and that is something that you talk about and that I would like to dive deeper into with you today.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm more than happy to be here. Thank you. It's really fun to talk about this process. And I think one of the questions that I get a lot in the modality that we both work with and teach, and that you now are certified in,
Right.
internal alchemy, is really, what does it mean? What does alchemy mean? It's a very old word, and a lot of people might attribute it to the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho that he wrote, which is definitely a big inspiration, right? That's not what I got the name from, but it's a big inspiration. And in this book, he meets this guy called the Alchemist. And one of the famous thing he does is he turns lead into gold, I believe it is, or something from one shape and form to something else. And that is arguably alchemy for sure. That is not the kind of alchemy that I teach yet, to my knowledge. Alchemy, when I look at it, is really the process of changing something from one shape and form to something else. So, the simplest way that I like to explain alchemy is to look at chemistry, magnetism, and electricity. Your heart produces an electric field, your brain and your nervous system has electricity, and your organs produces chemicals. So a upward going chemical would be a positive emotion, makes us happy. Dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, all of these kind of feel good hormones, right? And more of a downward going emotion would be more like cortisol or adrenaline, you could say as well, right? Adrenaline makes you feel good at a certain level, but then after a while it's hard to kind of relax the body, and it takes a big taxing effect on the body. So if we look at society today, when there's a lot of stress, the first step with alchemy is really working with your organs, getting your systems going, so we can kind of start to change the inner chemistry, the emotions. Your thoughts are chemicals, your sensations are electrical chemicals, right? That's basically the basics of alchemy. But it can be a little bit boring, and it's not really what we want to talk about today. But I just want to set that as a foundation, right? Because it can get technical, scientific, and you're like, yeah, that sounds good. But, like, what I do with this information, right? Basically. So I think the approach that really came to me today was, it's how you create your own reality. And this might be a trigger warning. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean you're not good enough, but we create our own mystery. We create our own reality by our internal state, because our internal state is always co-creating with your external state, which means wherever you show up from, not just your mood, your energy, your thoughts, your vibration, the way you are, not just the way that you think you are, that is always having a wordless communication with everything around you wherever you go in the world. So when I look at alchemy, that is really the process. A lot of people that I work with, or that work with a coach, or has stress or pain or traumas or injuries, they're looking to fix a specific thing, and then something will be better. Whereas my work is really like, how do I change that internal alchemy so that when I show up to the world is different because I am coming from a different place. Not just if I'm positive, people are positive for me. No, literally, you change the reality around you when you show up in a different place. I can give one another example. I had a sibling that hated technology, was really good at it, could know everything about it, could pick it, like in theory, knew everything, right? But there was such a strong charge around electronics. So every time this person would touch something, it would break. That's how I got really good at fixing things like machines and so on, right? Because this person just looking at something, it would break. And I kid you not, right? So your intention literally changes reality around you, right? Like if something doesn't work really well, a machine, and you get super angry, it's not going to work better, right? But when you shift your state, there is a shift that can make this happen. And it might sound strange if you haven't had that experience, but that is really the case. So alchemy is really about how you start to become a co-creator in your life and realize what's inside of you is what starts to create a reality around you.
Thank you. So what pops up for me now is like my body is alchemy. That's how I feel. It's like my body has the ability to alchemize. And it's not that it has the ability, it's what it's designed for. So it feels like that my body is designed to handle stress, and in the stress there's also the growth and evolution, and the alchemy is the process of turning the downwards facing spiral with the negative onslaught that it can feel as that is coming from the external, and kind of take that negative energy and alchemize it into one's purpose and into creativity and into motivation and the willingness to live and the willingness to participate and so I feel like my body or the body is designed to have that capacity to kind of take the negative energy and transform it into something positive and something that fuels us forward.
Yeah, your whole body is a big power plant, chemistry station, producing things all the time, energy all the time. And I think a big part of it is alchemy is always happening in your body, right? Like if you take a breath in through your nose right now, the air is cool, right? And you exhale through your mouth, it's warm. So that's already is an alchemy, you're already changing something. But a lot of these things are like they're natural. We don't think about it. So I think a lot of where the world is at today is what does it do for me so I can continue and be this time unit based, component of life. And that comes from a belief system. That comes from a way of looking at yourself and looking at others. When you start to change that and you can start to realize it's not just hard work leads to a result, it's also about magnetism. And you can gravitate towards something or away from something. You can repel or you can attract something. Then we're really starting about different ways of co-creating with life, right? Like you have marketing where you're really trying to get someone's attention. And then you have more messaging when you're trying to share your experience, your feeling, and people that like that and resonates with it will be drawn to wanting to know more and approach it. So that could be a feminine or a masculine polarity that we're looking at, yin or yang. And that has to do with alchemy as well, because you shift your own state, how you show up, the way you speak. I'm sitting like this and I'm trying to be motivating for you guys and I have the same tone. Nothing's going to happen, right? Like there's no, you don't feel that dynamic. So you are creating alchemy, whether you know it or not. But the more aware you are of how you change the internal alchemy and you start to lead from that place, then the whole world starts to shift around you. And it's not super easy always, but it's not that hard either. I think the challenge is understanding or accepting a possibility that this is true. And secondly, being consistent about it enough. Because it will challenge your narrative, it will challenge your belief system, it will challenge the way you look at things because it's less cause and effect and it's more about possibilities. And you start to change to different kind of possibilities when your mind and your emotions and the chemistry in your body is stuck in one mode. Well, that's the reality you're going to have. That's why it's so hard for some people to change. But when you literally start, like, look at it like this: you might be eating something that's not healthy for you. You're stressed chronically, which is a very strange word because nothing is chronic, but your body can't relax. So it's always having stress hormones and your body's backed up. So you can't get rid of them. You don't even have the right chemistry to produce the right kind of thought or emotions, right? Like the chemistry is against you. And then I'm trying to talk to someone and think my way out of it, where that's not even where the stress lives. So then, of course, I will lose faith and I will lose the actual place where shift can happen. But once you actually start with the chemistry or the somatic work, it's not just that you feel more relaxed, you literally change your reality. You literally change everything inside of you so that now you have more possibilities, not just that you have more perspective. You literally start to gravitate possibilities towards you because you're shifting your whole state.
Yeah. So if the alchemy, so we use the nervous system as the gateway to the alchemy, right? So what, and for me, the nervous system is the bridge between the physical body, the emotional body, the energetical body, and the spirit or the soul access. To me, the nervous system is what bridges all of them and allows the alchemy to be multidimensional, and that is also why it's so effective, I think, because it bridges all of them. And so what role would you say that the nervous system plays in this, from the aspect of being the source creator?
I did a little model the other day, and maybe I showed you, I can't remember fully now, but it was kind of like if you look at a bicycle wheel or if you look at a car, a tire, you have a circle in the middle and then you have the rubber around, right? And then between the circle and the middle, you have different spokes or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what's called on a tire, right? But the center is really that's the base of everything. Without that, nothing really works. That is the nervous system for me in internal alchemy. Like you can be super gifted with energy work or fascia or breath work or all these kind of cool stuff. But if you don't have the grounding and the connection to yourself, it's kind of like having a very fast car with no brakes, no suspension, no engine, coolant. It's just a lot of power going in all kinds of directions, right? There's nothing that really holds it in a balanced way. You can't really gauge how to accelerate, how to slow down. And then you have the fascia, which connects everything. You have the breath work, which also connects everything, right? And then when you start to kind of look at it, you also have the tremors, which integrates everything. And then I would say like the tire or the rubber, right? That would be energy work because energy work for me can go from within and without, but it really starts from nervous system and then it just spreads out further and further until it becomes less and less tangible, but it still permeates into communicating with other things, or with, like, if you show up in a different way, everything around you will definitely respond very differently, right? If you go out to nature and you're pissed off and you're kicking at everything and throwing branches and rocks around you, unless you meet another human being or a bear or a wolf, which I hope you don't, right? Everything's going to leave you alone. It's going to be you and the trees, basically, and the ground, right? Like nothing else going to come. If you go out into nature and you relax and you breathe and you sit down and you don't have that anger, that violence in you, other animals will feel it. Maybe they come up, maybe they sniff at you, maybe they come closer because they can feel your vibration. They can feel the intention in you because that's how they're wired for survival, to look for predators around you. So we are creating our own reality and what's attracted to it and what we pull away with everything that we do. So that is really the essence of alchemy. So nervous system is the base, and everything else kind of leads into energy work. And energy work is from nervous system all the way out till wherever you want to go, basically, right? However untangible you want to make it, that's the realm of energy work. You're just expanding it outwards.
So when it comes to the alchemy and the terms of being the source creator, where would you say that your speciality is?
Creating a space for you to realize your potential, to explore your strengths, challenges, and kind of dissemble yourself and then be able to put yourself together. So creating the space for that, practices, theory if needed to understand how it works, and teaching others how to do it for others as practitioners.
Hmm. And what would you say the alchemy is behind all of it?
It's really the engine. Alchemy is the engine. And whatever kind of work I do with others, the intention is super important because intention permeates everything you do. So one of the intention we have for these podcasts is we can talk about things, but we also want to make it practical so you can actually feel it, because you can understand it and you can hear it, but if you can relate to it and feel it, now I have an experience of it, which means I get another reference point to actually make a shift. So for me, alchemy is really making that shift so you have a new reference point, a new experience, so you be motivated or just know that there is an opportunity to do something differently than you have been doing or are doing currently. And if you can't see another way, well, then it's hard to do something differently. But if you can start to feel a bit differently, now, the neuroplasticity in your brain opens up a new pathway. There is an opportunity. Oh, it only happened once. Yeah, but it happened. There is a window. I can actually see it. Whether that was a stroke of lightning or not, it's still there because now I have an experience and a reference point that something can change.
To me, the internal alchemy is a life force activator almost. It's like it's generating creativity, and I mean creativity and life force is the same thing, right? And yeah, what's your experience with that? What how come the alchemy is so directly connected with the life force?
Well, life force is ever changing, right? Like, without going into the details, how is life made? Well, it's alchemy. It starts from one act, starts from one substance, it starts from one shape or form, and it changes into something else. So life force itself is ever changing. It's alchemical in nature. You can use your life force. If you look at the Vedics, you can use your life force to look for the opposite or same sex, whatever your preference is, right? To have intimacy with. You can use it to really, focus on giving love and awareness and attention to others, whether that's religiously or spiritually or non-profit, really helping other people, even having businesses that are heart driven and help other people. You can become a professor, a PhD, researching in something, giving knowledge to people, which you bring the life force more up into your head and really using that faculties. So life force can just be transported into different places and focus on different aspects within yourself that starts to permeate out into the world.
What else about the alchemy and the source creator aspect do you feel like we haven't touched upon yet in this conversation?
I think perspective, like, let's just play around with a simple thing. I think I might have done this before in one of these podcasts. I can't remember right now, but perspective is good, right? Changing perspective is always good, but you can't force yourself to change perspective because then you're bypassing. That's not really alchemy. That's more something else. That's more suppression, or that you mentally decide upon doing something but you don't have your body with you. So you're going against your body, and then you wonder why you get tired or why this doesn't work out the way it does, or why you don't have the motivation to do something. It's because your intention is not mind body connected. It either comes from here or you're just trying to run with the feeling in the body, but we don't have the mind to allocate the energy in the right direction, right? I have a lot of motivation, but I don't know what to do with it. I want to help everyone. Yeah, but I don't really know how to organize, get people together, all of these things. Okay, then probably nothing's going to happen. I have all of these great ideas, but I'm not in touch with that. Not everyone wants to do something at 9 p.m. at night, or, work out during Christmas or whatever it might be, right? Like when we're aligned, then we can actually start to do something about it. So let's just try a simple exercise just to give you an idea. Right or left hand, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're gonna move it clockwise. I bring one finger up. So clockwise for me is left, top, right, and down. Okay, that's the first exercise. Getting it in the right direction. Uh, okay. So if you look down, it's going clockwise, right? And then continue, bring it up a little bit. Continue, same direction. It's still going in the same direction. And then bring it up. And then now look from below. And then all of a sudden it goes in the opposite direction. So that's just a simple exercise to show you perspective. When you look at something from different perspective, things change. That's more of a mental faculty because we didn't change the actual movement. We just looked at it from different direction and then it changed. And that's the matter of perspective. If I look at it from my emotions, my story, my point of view, I can't see what happened from the other person's point of view. And then I'm kind of getting stuck in that aspect. What alchemy does, it also changes the feeling of it, not just understanding, so that you can show up from a different place, which already starts to open up a possibility for something else to change if it's an interpersonal dynamic, which a lot of things are in life: work, relationship, social, family, I don't know, organizations, when you travel, when you're out in the public. A lot of things you do today is based on your interpersonal relationships and interpersonal skills. So the alchemy allows you to change things within you so you get another perspective, but not just mentally. Your body radiates another sense of safety, another sense of energy, another sense of motivation, which allows others to find you and be attracted to you or pulled away from you.
Mm.
And that's very hard if you have what I had for a long time, very teddy bear, people pleasing. I want to be friends with everyone, help everyone, and I still do. I haven't left that. I'm just learning to be more discerning with my voice. And then some people will not like it. And that doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means it will be a different reality from me outwards, which means people will either find me or be repelled. And that's natural. That happens in nature all the time, right? Bees don't go to every flower. This animal doesn't go to these areas. A fish usually stays in the water. So it's just natural. It's just natural dynamics. It's just the mind that makes it like everything for everything and makes those kind of distinctions that doesn't happen. And if your mind is there, it can create all kinds of chaos in your body because you don't really know who you are, where you're coming from, your voice, what you stand for, what's important for you. And then that already starts to create an imbalance in the alchemy, in the chemistry in your body. So I think alchemy is really important for people because it allows you to be authentically you, so you can find yourself, so others can find you. And then that's how you really find your way, I would say, forward in life, not by thinking you're something you're not, and your body knows you're not, but your mind is going one direction, your body's going in a completely different direction. And then you're trying to get a result on top of that, and you don't understand why you're not getting the results. Well, everything's going in different directions, but the alchemy is brings everything together, and now you start to create your reality literally around you.
That's what alchemy is to me, to my ability to generate, direct, and kind of dispatch energy into something, so that I can choose where I put my energy, and that from there I become the creator, because where I choose to put my energy is what I create, right? So that's what so for me, the internal alchemy. So now we've been talking about alchemy from a creator aspect as a concept, from like without the outside of the framework of the modality, because I see that there's two aspects of the internal alchemy. One is the sessions and the certification training. I mean, it's very practical. It's very I do the sessions, I create alchemy inside of my body. I can do that for myself, self-paced, or I can get help with that from either any practitioner or you. That's a very, very practical way of accessing the internal alchemy, and also creating that internal change, that shift, that to shift the chemistry to affect, what did you say, the organs and the nervous system, and you mentioned the different layers of the body for the alchemy. So
Yeah, chemistry, magnetism, and you also
yes,
have the electricity.
electricity, yeah. So that's what, there's practical sessions that generates that. But
Yeah.
then there's so much in this conversation that is touching on the philosophy around internal alchemy. There's like the lifestyle around it. It's how it's not only it's not only a practice that you show up to, 3 times a week, like going to the gym. It's actually like it's so deeply connected to the lifestyle. Like, how do we live? How do I operate? And that is also on a physical level, emotional level, energetic level, and the connection to the soul level. It's like, how can that come through? Do you want to share a little bit of anything comes up in that aspect?
Well, alchemy starts to allow you to have more expression, not just through words and thoughts. Like you are expressing yourself, or life is expressing itself through you fully. So, having worked with people for many years now, both in retreats, personal training, in corporate environments, in rehab, mental health, hospitals, elderly, people with disabilities, um, it's easy to see in Asia, right? In Asia, there is, depending where you are in Asia, but where we are in Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia, there is a general consensus in most traditions and cultures that there is a life force that permeates us all. Chi, prana, electro, what's it called? Bioelectrical energy, I think is called piezoelectrical energy in Western science. There's so many different ways of explaining this life force, this energy, what it actually is, and how it kind of connects everyone. And I think at a certain level of stillness in you, you can start to feel it and kind of co-create with it. That's what Tai Chi is about. That's what Qigong is about. That's what yoga is about. That's something that was very important for me growing up. My father came from a lot of different civil wars and you know, kind of challenging life circumstances. So when he did arrive in Sweden, he noticed he had a lot of effects from that. And back in those days, he arrived in the 70s, you know, trauma wasn't really a word, right? Like it wasn't really on the map. So thankfully for me, he found these Eastern arts, Qigong, Tai Chi, karate, which is a big part, martial arts been a big part of my family for many years, primarily for healing. Not for the martial aspect, I'm going to fight someone and defend myself, but for your own healing, your expression, that alchemy. Okay, if I'm angry, I can get it out. I can do different forms. I can work with that energy in my body. So the internal martial arts really allows you to work with all of these different emotions within you to strengthen your body so that you feel whole and stable within you. So you hopefully don't take your own process thing and just clash into other people. So that's really a legacy when I look at chi and energy work. And that's what I'm bringing into internal alchemy too. So many times when we look at energy work, people look at the intangible and the things they don't want to believe and the things that are far away from them. And I said, well, don't start there. And who knows, you might never wind up there either. It might not be part of your life expression or your practice of internal alchemy either. For you, it might be fascia, it might be breath work, it might be tremors, it might be working with the nervous system, and that's it. That's plenty, right? Like that's a lot already. We don't have to go to all of these things that we don't want to go. Like focus on what works for you and what is your expression. My aim as a teacher and my lived experience and what kind of came from my ancestors and my lineage is to show the possibilities of what we are capable of when we actually open ourselves up for the opportunity of meeting, expressing ourselves, acting, moving in a different way. And not by thinking about it, by actually working through your body, through the alchemy process. So when we start to do that regularly, it's not just that you change your thoughts, you change what you think is possible and not. And even science, Western science agrees on that, although they call it placebo nocebo, but it goes beyond what you just think about yourself. It's the capacity that every cell of the body has to come together as an organization and create something. So alchemy is really about creating a life expression in different ways. And when people feel bad many times, it's because we're stuck in one trajectory, one belief system, one potential outcome, and we don't see, like, the spirit goes numb, right? Like it's like a spiritual amnesia. And spirit, sure, it might be a triggering word, you know, depending on culture or religion or where we come from. I'm not saying in a dogmatic way. I'm saying it as if you're super tired and your head is full of all kinds of ideas and your emotions are everywhere, and you wake up in the morning and something just brings you up, just gets you going, not just adrenaline. Well, that's spirit. You hear a musical tune and you're just like, oof, your whole body, I don't know, I just feel goosebumps and you start to move. There's just an expression of things. Well, that's expression of that energy, right? It's not just coming from your mind. It's actually an expression of life force within you that's moving with something else. And I think as a society with separation of things, we've become very good at mathematics and geography and history and all of these things, and we're kind of separating everything, but nothing in the body is really separated. So when you come back to trying to restore balance and health within you, it's about bringing everything together and play and having them work with each other in different ways. And that's what starts to create the life expression. And when we do, pain usually subsides, the stress usually subsides. We're feeling more capable of working through our traumas or belief systems, and our health, in my opinion, experience usually follows along that practice, which we can call a lifestyle or journey or adventure, whatever you want to call it. So for me, internal alchemy is here to create better potential possibilities for that expression to fully happen.
Yeah, I agree. I use internal alchemy to, it's like a container where I can bring everything that doesn't work in my life, where I can bring everything that's hard or difficult, and then I can transform that and instead use that negative, that downward spiraling energy into, it's like I reverse it and then I make it upwards spiraling instead. And I also find the 108 days that I'm doing on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
the 108 days of internal alchemy, where I do 30-minute sessions and I build over time and I show up every day. And I decided to do that because I needed the internal alchemy every day. I knew that if I would show up even as little as 30 minutes every day, this is going to create a massive change in my life. And as I'm going along, I'm learning that I bring in anything that is like a separation from the life I want to live and who I want to show up as. And that is what has been so difficult. That was what was difficult for me before we started this journey or this practice or created all of these things. That was the difficulty for me because I was not able to show up as the truth of who I knew I was in every situation of my life. I realized that inside of some relationships or dynamics, I wasn't able to show up as true as of who I was due to me not feeling confident enough or not allowing myself my ideas to move forward or stepping forward or personal power or different things. And with the alchemy, I feel like where I previously didn't have anywhere to go with this aspect of my life, I can bring all of that into the internal alchemy. And from there, I can start to bridge and find an outlet and an alchemy for insecurities, for self-doubt, for frustration, and that's where I find the beauty of this, because it's a multidimensional process. So it all intertwines. So when I start to move and actually shift the energy inside of myself, things on the outside actually start to change. And I slowly but surely, as I face myself, as I face the truth of who I am and the things that I need to work through in order to be who I know that I am. And that is what I mean with when I say the soul or the soul body. There's a part of us that knows that, okay, I know that I am not supposed to, but I should be able to hold my cool here, but for some reason I can't. And that creates a frustration inside of me because I feel like it's not the truth of who I am. And for me, the internal alchemy is the process of being able to show up as the truth of who I am everywhere or anywhere that I feel like that's what I want to do.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, it's also about turning things into a practice. And a practice doesn't mean you get it right the first time, especially if you practice martial arts, you know this. Beginner's mindset is like your ego is going to get smashed.
Winning.
Yeah, if you don't have egos, if you don't have beginner's mindset, your ego is going to get smashed over and over again until you actually
You're
learn.
not going to return.
You're not going to return, right? It's going to be a very humbling experience and maybe traumatic even. So,
It's
uh,
both.
depending on the school and you and how you approach it, right? But life is really a practice. Even if you go down to the dopamine, the reward hormones in the body, and I think it was Andrew Huberman that had a big podcast in his research in Stanford University in USA, one of the Ivy League colleges. That's great neuroscience. He talked about dopamine. When you get dopamine for the process of learning something, it's stronger, it lasts longer, and it motivates you to do things in life, right? Sure, we can get a dopamine hit when we actually achieve something. Yeah, I did it. Wow, okay, good. But if that's what I'm chasing, then I'm per definition in addiction already. I'm already chasing the next high. So that's a natural thing of life. Of course, you want to be happy and celebrate it. But if you have your dopamine towards the practice and towards learning things, we're always growing, we're always moving through things. Now, the nervous system teaches you to have a balance in that. So you're not just on all cylinders all the time and just burning yourself out, right? So let's just try something simple. I just wanted to see if I can get this into practice. So, like, just place your right hand like this, palm up, like you're, I don't know, you're a waiter or something. You're holding a tray. Now, your palm is gonna want to face up throughout this entire exercise. We're gonna move towards the pinky finger side, right? So I'm gonna bring the hand in. At some point, I'm gonna need to bring the elbow out, and I continue go towards the pinky finger side, and I bring the elbow in so I can move the wrist because the wrist is not going 360. It's not built like that, which means we're gently wanting to open up the wrist. At a stop in the wrist, we work with the elbow. At stop in the elbow, we start to work with the shoulder. And you can start to make this movement larger. You can bring it over your head. You can make it smaller. And just continue doing this. And I'm going to ask a question. How's your breathing? Are you holding your breath?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good.
I was also writing down a good idea.
Okay, good. That's fine. Okay, how's the tension level in the body?
Less,
Okay. How does the energy feel?
more playful.
Where's the thoughts?
Nowhere.
Okay. And then let's try the other way, going towards the thumb. So it's almost like, I don't know, threading on a jacket some weird way. Going towards the thumb, elbow out.
So it's a bit of cheating for me because I've done this with you forever. This
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And now how's the breathing?
connected.
Yeah. And then let this hand rest a little bit. And then do the same thing for the other hand. We start from top. We go towards the pinky finger side. So you go in, elbow follows, and around. You can play around, do a bigger movement if you feel this is simple. Not so easy for me. It was easy on the right. So what happens? My mind starts to kick in a little bit. Oh my God, I'm gonna challenge them. I'm gonna bring them out, right? And that's just the way I'm wired when I'm working with. So then I know, okay, what does that do for my breathing? I held my breath a little bit more. Then I try to relax and not force it. And all of a sudden it's easier. Now let's move towards the thumb side. So this is maybe not so normal or common for a lot of people to move the limbs like this in a controlled way unless you're actually doing some kind of practice like this. So it requires us to go into the body and the breathing. And we might try to want to think and figure it out. Like try to think about what you're doing now. Yeah, it messes up the movement straight away, right? It doesn't really work. So let's just play around. We know it. I've done it on right side both ways. I've done it on left side both ways. Okay, so bring both hands up. Now bring both inwards and they can cross overhead. Easy. Now we go the other way around. It's gonna look like this weird inverted breaststroke. Can keep them out here if you want. Okay, now bring one in and one out. Don't think about it. You already done the movement.
I don't know, so I just go. I've 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 battled through this for years during our morning sessions with our retreat center,
You
not
can
being
even
able to do
bring
this. So I
closer to each other.
surrendered.
You can bring them further away. You can move to the other way. And when I teach the classes, like Sara was saying, the morning classes at the retreats, people were getting this movement. And then they would be like, what am I doing? And then it would look like this. Okay. So what does it do? It opens up the wrists, the elbows, all the fingers, the shoulders. So it sends a lot of circulation of blood, of lymph, cleaning, detoxing the body, can help to open up the lungs. Just sit down and take a moment and feel your palms. Maybe your palms are facing up now. What does feel your palms mean? Just become aware of them. Are they hot? Are they cold? Are they tingling? How does your breathing feel? How does your neck feel? What are you aware of now? What are you focusing on right now? What's most present for you in this moment, right here, right now? I was kind of in what is alchemy, and what came through me with that was a bit of thinking, a bit of intuition. And now it's very empty. Not sure what to
My
say, but I feel my body more. Go
That's
ahead.
good because I know what to say.
Okay, go for it.
No, but this is I love the movements because it's the bridge into the physical body, is the bridge into all the other bodies. That's how it is for me, because freedom and the sensation that I'm looking for is a physical state. It's a state of being. It's a type of chemistry in the body. So I use the internal alchemy and I use the physical body as the vehicle to create and generate the type of feelings and emotions that I want to have, and that I directly connect with the sensation of freedom. And through the physical sensation of freedom, and that has been my biggest, task, because that is not what I came from. I did not have any sensation of freedom in my body on any level, and that was my problem, when I arrived here almost 10 years ago, and that was the catalyst of my work here. So now, when we're going full circle and we are launching this modality, it is that modality that has generated and still creates the sensation of freedom in my body. And when I have that sensation of feeling of freedom in my body, that applies automatically on my external. So I use that. So it's like that is where I am the source creator, because through the internal alchemy, I can change the chemistry in my body and create the sustainable feeling that I want to have in my life. And what I see that people are doing is that they are trying to create a state temporarily through mindset, or I don't know, different, people are using all kinds of things to create a certain state, but it's not. And that's where I was not interested, and I realized in the reality that I was living 10 years ago, I didn't have access to the information to change how to change the state, not temporarily, but what do you call it? Consistent. What do you call
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. You be
An
being
embodied state.
consistent. Yeah,
Yeah, an
body.
embodied
Yeah.
state. And for me, the gateway was through the physical body. I
Mm.
had to meet myself on the physical level inside of the internal alchemy and work through or meet that sensation inside of the physical body. And when I did that, that's when my whole life started to open up. And that's where the bridge between exercise and internal alchemy becomes very thin, because all of a sudden I'm changing I'm using internal alchemy to change my emotional state, to create a sensation inside my body. And for some reason, I'm also getting fit while doing it. Right? Isn't that
Yeah,
an
yeah. I've seen a big shift in you for sure. I think yeah, what really comes to me when you were sharing that is a couple of things. I did a post a few days ago about how AI is showing us what humanity really is. And I'm not going to go too deep into that rabbit hole. I'm just going to touch upon it. And there's this fear that the AI is going to replace a lot of jobs and things, and it might. It's efficient. It does things easier. Uh, some argue that it's less costly than people. I wouldn't say it is, because of all the water to cool the processes down. So it's actually costing a lot more of the environment and everything than a person does. But that's kind of like its own conversation. What I wanted to say is just shows us the embodiment part of us, and how there's things that we can do and change our own code, our own way of thinking, and then even change our chemistry, right? A computer can't really do that. It can change its algorithms and its code. We can literally revamp ourselves completely. And in a lot of energy or spiritual traditions, uh, even in when you're looking at computer science and so on, you can change the hardware, the actual machine or the graphic card or the RAM memory or all of these things, the capacity, the computer, the processor. And you can change the software, right? The programs and all the codes and everything within it. And usually when you do a change of something, you are looking to reset the body, or sorry, the computer, right? You change a new hard drive or a new routine, and then always it says, okay, do you like to start over? Like, when you want to download this, when you want to update it, okay, now we need to reboot the computer for these settings to happen. Now, the reboot for humans usually happen when we go to sleep and when we wake up, if we're able to sleep and if we go to sleep, which is a completely different topic. But you can do a rebirth or a reset without dying and without going to sleep. You can do it when you're still awake. And when you're able to do that, what happens is you get a chance to come away from all the stressful chemicals. You get a chance to get out of that long-term anxiety. You get a chance to get out of all of these intrusive thoughts and have tos that doesn't allow you to rest. And if I look at the essence of what internal alchemy is, it gives you that reboot or rebirth or whatever you want to call it. So you can update your software and even your hardware, because everything is in a constant state of flux. Everything changes, every cell changes. So it's not like I'm going to be with this body for the rest of my life. True, but not true. Every cell, every couple of years has changed. You're not the same person as when you were born. Not your thoughts, not your emotions. Nothing in you is the same. So it's really rebirthing, revamping, restarting. That's why we call it a nervous system reset, or that's why the breath work we teach is called rebirthing, because you literally go into a state of hypertransient being, which means you shut down the thinking mind, the analytical, the voice in your head, and you just go into a state of observing. It's kind of like when you're writing with an AI, right? And you write something, you see its thoughts. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm calculating how to answer this. So that's the same that you can do, but for yourself. You can look at yourself without being inside of the experience. You can sit outside, look at all of these processes. And that's the practice of meditation or mindfulness, that you're not actually engaging with it, you're just watching it. And I think that's a big essence of internal alchemy, that you reset your nervous system, you have a rebirthing experience, if you want to call it that, but you start something over within yourself while you're still awake. So you're aware of the shift that happens and you can actually let something go. And then with consistency and in your lifestyle and practice, you start to move yourself in a different direction. And that's what I'm talking about. It's not about catharsis. It's not about this big screaming experiences. You might have them. It's about the changing the internal state. So everything starts to change on the outside. And sometimes a reset is needed for that. And it's perfectly safe. It might be challenging, it might be uncomfortable, it might be very new for you, but it's safe. It's just a new start, a new beginning.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you so much for this conversation. So I'm going to bridge this into, so if someone is, okay, so how do I easily begin my internal alchemy journey? I would say that the wellspring is the easiest way to connect. So there's two levels of the wellspring. There is one level that is a pre-recorded, so it's a self-paced library of about 80 full length. So it's a 75 minutes sessions with internal alchemy with both me and Simba, where we are over time working through different aspects of life, the victim and villain dynamic, the ability to forgive, courage, compassion, faith, many different aspects, growing up. So the internal alchemy has different themes. So that is the engine and the base of everything that we do. And that is the physical aspect of changing the chemistry in the body. And that is it's a little bit of a chop wood, carry water kind of, but but that's we got to show up for practice. We got to show up for work, show up to move the energy by ourselves. And then the results is the reward. It's the energy that you are able to transform and transmute inside of the sessions in your own time. And then the other aspect of the wellspring is the living aspect. And through this year, we are diving deeper into the philosophy and the lifestyle aspect of the internal alchemy. And last month, we were diving into hydration and nutrition. And next is actually the bridge that you were talking about, the sleep and the reset and the R&R, the rest and recovery, the balance, the life work balance, and the self-care, and how we really, care for ourselves and allow that balance to occur. So we host two in-depth workshops on each topic every month. So it's a membership that you can join. So I would probably guide you to begin there if you're new to this. And that's probably the bridge. Is there anything that you want to say about the Wellspring?
I think the Wellspring is amazing. It's fun and it's a creative outlet for us. It's something that people can really go, and there's over 80 pre-recorded lessons and then 2 workshops each month that are live online, with one with me, one with Sara. So there's so many topics to work through, but not just mentally, with your body, breathing exercises, fascia, moving the spine, like literal classes where we guide you through it, not just talking about what happens, taking you through the process. And we've seen amazing results with this over the years. People have changed just from doing that. People we have never met in person, just met on the screen, literally changed their entire lives. by showing up for these practices. So that's why we're also very passionate about sharing it, because it changed our life and we're seeing the impact it has had on other people. I also want to say that there is also a big demand for meeting in person for people. And in September now, I'm going to be doing more travel. I'm going to be in Singapore and having 4 workshops in 10 days. And later this year, we'll go to Indonesia as well. And we also have an upcoming, well, it's a little bit early, so we can't announce it yet, but we have an upcoming opportunity of meeting us here in Chiang Mai as well. Um, I'll share more when that comes. But you can come for retreats as well. If you want to come to Chiang Mai and like, no, I want to meet you guys in person, we offer retreats in Chiang Mai as well. We offer one-on-one sessions in Chiang Mai. So there is that opportunity as well that you can actually come and physically meet us if that's what your body's calling you, what you need, or you want something to be more focused on you. And we usually use the wellspring as a combination of that, that you either prepare doing a few sessions. When you come back home, you can continue doing wellspring or one-on-ones with us. So we have this kind of ecosystem for how you can bridge internal alchemy into your everyday life. And when I go to places like Jakarta or Bangkok or Singapore, it's very busy, right? I understand the idea. You go to a workshop, you have a great time, and then you forget all about it because life just takes a hold of you. So that's why we aim to build services, products, and availability so we can actually meet people with more than needs and demands where time is a constraint, where what can I actually do with the limited amount of time I have to give myself as much as possible and grow from there. So that's really how we build a lot of these programs, both for people that want to take and do a full reset and come out here for a retreat, but also people that want to meet us wherever we're at, closer to you. So there is many opportunities that you can work with us, and you can go to Internal Alchemy with Simba on Instagram. There's a link tree there, or probably see the link tree here. You can also go to Sara Marie on her Instagram. There's a link tree there with all the events and upcoming things that we're doing. But our aim is really that, to take these practices and make them contemporary for people so that you can actually use it, not just doing it the way we used to do it a long time ago that might not be congruent to where we're at in society and our needs today.
Yeah, I have a free series on YouTube that is 108 days that you can join. You
Yeah.
can like and subscribe this content if you enjoy it. Thank you so much, Simba, for joining. I'll see you. I'll have you back here in a bit. We also share on each topic on the Wellspring. We also drop podcasts on your YouTube on the topics. So there's a lot of content from our end coming up.
A lot of things coming.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Ciao.
Ciao.